Hello, and welcome to the curriculum preview for the 6 weeks for third grade for science. We're just going to briefly talk a little bit about this last 6 weeks, and we're looking at organisms in the rainforest part 2. So just a reminder of our Birdville biomes view that we have as we go through the years. In third grade, we take our first in-depth look at a biome, and that is the rainforest. So last 6 weeks, you looked at some of your content, life science standards, through general applications, and then you had a chance to really dive into what did those look like in the rainforest, and we're going to continue that this 6 weeks with some new content standards. So just a little bit of a reminder, when we're first introducing those life science standards to students, and especially in this 6 weeks where we've got some pretty abstract concepts, we want to make sure that we just use whatever's in STEM scopes and aims. We don't have to have everything be driven through the rainforest, because that will come once the students have really started to master the concept, and that'll come with our application part. So let's take a look at how that looks for our pacing. Like last 6 weeks, we have two options for pacing for Unit 6, Option 1 and Option 2. Option 1 is on the left-hand side, and I don't expect for you to be able to read this view, but I just wanted to show you with these little icons what that means as far as the rainforest is concerned. So in Option 1, you'll see that there's 3 mini units that this 6 weeks is divided up into, and each one of those mini units focuses on a particular content standard. So here's 3.10a, 3.10b, and 3.10c. This has 8 days assigned for it to really go through the arc of the 5E lesson plan to really hit the depth and complexity of that particular standard. So this just shows you that when you're starting off in the first 3 steps of the 5E, when you're introducing and engage, you're doing the hands-on with explore, and you're learning the vocabulary and explain, you're going to want to just do that in a variety of environments and biomes. So whatever aims and STEM scopes have built in, that's appropriate to use. By the time you get to the 4th E in the 5E and elaborate, that's really where kids are going to start ready to apply this knowledge into a new situation, and that's when we're going to look at the rainforest. So you can see every mini unit we're going to learn in a general application and then take a look at the rainforest. So it spirals through several different times through the 6 weeks. The second option, which you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen, really compacts the standards into about 3-4 weeks. So you're going to just really be covering those life science standards in a variety of environments and habitats, and really not even talk about the rainforest until they get a grasp and a real mastery of them. And then that opens up about 2 weeks at the end of the 6 weeks for an option to do a research project so that students can really focus on applying some of those concepts. For instance, structures and functions of plants and animals is a perfect fit for the rainforest, and really start to look at those through the rainforest lens. So just like last 6 weeks, we have 2 different options depending on what your needs are. Option 2 is really great as well, because you can really do a nice big block time and start to use your reading and writing time to support and be a part of that research. So if you're self-contained, that's a nice block of time for you, or if you're departmentalized, you can partner up with your teammate. So the next couple of screens, if you'd like to stop and look at these, you can just pause the video. I just kind of wanted to put those up there with a little bit more detail in case you're new to the grade level and not really done these options before, or if you just like a little bit more explanation. So here's a little bit of detail for option 1. And then here is an option 2 detailed look too. And again, if you need to see these more in depth, please just pause it, go back where you need to, and then you can take a look. Okay, so I wanted to also point out a couple of new resources for you in the unit overview. So we're going to go ahead and take a look there, and I'm going to pull your unit overview over and make sure that you find all the things that you need to make your planning very efficient. So the pacing guides that we were looking for, those are linked right here in the unit overview. And I wanted to point out a couple of things. Number 1, the guiding questions. On the left-hand side, you're going to see the guiding questions that are really linked very concretely to the standards as they're written. So if we take the standard that focuses on structures and functions of animals and plants, that's going to be very straightforward in looking at surviving in cold weather, hot weather, dry conditions, and so forth. You'll see all of those guided questions on the left-hand side are very general, and then what I've done is I've created parallel guiding questions with a little twist so that they are more focused on the rainforest. So in the rainforest, the structures and functions of animals and plants are very different than they would be, say, for instance, in a desert, because they've got very different variables and environments to deal with. And so, what are some of those specialized structures and functions or physical characteristics, and what do they do for that plant or animal? So, it's a really great way to start applying that information. So, I've got guiding questions for both of those views. As always, we've got some great tips and some new resources here in approaches to classroom delivery. So again, if you're new to teaching third grade science this year, this will be a place where you're going to want to take a look. I've just got some notes, and what I've done is I've taken the standard and really broken those down into key concepts so you know how deep to go with your third graders. And we do have some new, very important science life science standards that really build the foundation for getting into some more advanced understanding of what's happening with the plants and animals and in the environments as well. I've thrown in a couple of examples for the rainforest for you there, so you can take a look at that. It's in the unit overview. And I'm just going to keep scooching on down here. Most of these images come from STEM scopes. If they come from somewhere else, I try to note those. So if you're interested in finding these, they're usually from the teacher background or from somewhere in STEM scopes, and I try to note those so you know where to find them. Okay. The resources I've changed up just a little bit to make a little bit more user friendly. And so one of the things I wanted to point out was a change to where I put the rainforest resources. So what I've done is I bundled them up here if they're very general. So if, for instance, we have a rainforest overview that's really general for the rainforest, it could hit a variety of different standards. So I'll put those here in the first row. I've also got any articles that are aligned with the comprehension toolkit that would really align well with our life science standards. I've got those in there as well. In addition, I have, let me scroll down. In addition, what I've done is for any particular standard, so this is 3.10a, if there was something that was specific to the rainforest that was a great fit, I'll note that in these notes because it fits that standard tightly, but then it's a rainforest example. So I've got those listed here. I've got notes over here. So just take a minute to look through those, and I think you'll find some nice connections. And then there's some other activities that I've updated, and I've put those down here too. And so the great thing about having it in Google is you can just click on it and immediately see if that's a good fit for you. So you'll see that for all of the standards, I've got some different activities and some rainforest pieces in there. So again, I just wanted to make sure you were very clear on how to find that because it's designed to save you time and to make the best of your plans. Okay, as we wrap up, I just wanted to give out some information about what hands-on looks like in the life sciences. This is a question I get quite a bit from teachers. They're like, what exactly counts as hands-on? So when we're talking about life science, we really make a lot of models. We might play some games or some card sorts, but really one of the best ways is just to either bring living organisms into your classroom or into the lab, or take the kids outside and let them find examples of how this is really happening out on their campus. You'd be surprised what you're going to find. So here's just a couple of pictures from around the district of different students doing some hands-on in the life science. And then there's a couple of more pictures as well. There's lots and lots of resources in the science lab for growing plants. Most of your house plants that you might have in your home are going to be rainforest plants, because if you think about it, your home is going to be pretty dark as far as sunlight goes. It's going to be a temperate temperature, and your houseplants are going to be designed to live in that habitat, which really kind of mimics the rainforest. So there's some really great things that you can find there too. So there's a couple of pieces of information. Again, I'll let you pause that and read that at your leisure, but I just wanted I wanted to point out. And that can really make a big difference for your kids. And of course, they love that. Um, just a reminder on how to access the unit overview. So again, if you're a little fuzzy on how to get there in Canvas, you can pause it and take a look. And then finally, I want to wrap up with some upcoming changes that are going to be happening in science next year for the 2018-19 school year. TEA has been going through a streamlining process for the science standards in kindergarten through high school. And what that means is that we're looking at the standards and finding any deletions, any edits they could make, just any way to kind of streamline the standards, because there were starting to be some big implications of not being able to really cover them in the time that we had in the school year. So there's lots of impacts for every grade level, and then as we go up vertically, there's even more impacts. So I wanted to just kind of give you a heads up and then talk to you about how you're going to get this information. So first of all, this visual might help you kind of understand the why of you might want to streamline. On the left-hand side, you're going to see the math standards for 5th grade in a year. So those include their process skills as well as their content. And then on the right side, those are the science standards. So the process skills are huge. You can see those, that's that big first section, and then the content standards follow after. So that's just one view to kind of help you understand. You know, math is already really tight to cover in a year, and so is science when we take the time that we need to really cover them well. So what I've been working on for the last 2 years is these have come out. I've been keeping track of what changes were recommended, what changes were actually adopted, and I've been working on creating some documents that make this crystal clear for you so you don't have to go around sketching little notes on documents such as this. So I'll be ready to roll those out this summer. So let's talk about how you can find out more about this. If you're very interested in knowing about the streamlining right now, you're welcome to hop onto the TEA page and you can take a look at what was adopted. So you could go right to 3rd grade and see what changes were made. I have been working on updating the scope and sequence and unit overview, and then my curriculum team and I will make those final changes at the end of May, early summer. And then I will be having a training that's optional for any teacher that would like to come this summer. And you'll find out what it looks like at your grade level, but then also how it impacted our curriculum here in the district. If you can't make it this summer, or if that's not something that you are going to be able to do, don't worry, because there'll be required training for all K through 5 science teachers, and that'll happen on our August District Professional Learning Day. So I'll have a session that's tailored just for your grade level that is going to be focused on, okay, what were the changes? What happened to the scope and sequence, what happened to the unit overviews, and you'll get a chance to look through that thoroughly and then make some plans for the first 6 weeks. So that was a lot of information. So if you have any questions, as always, please let me know. And I hope you have a great last 6 weeks. I hope you have a wonderful, restful summer. And as always, let me know if I can help you in any way.